Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Irene if you're new here. Today in this video, I am going to be talking about prayer. If you have ever found yourself comparing your prayer life to somebody else's because it may not have sounded the same, it may not have looked the same, and that in turn made you feel like your prayer was somehow insignificant, that it wasn't effective, or it made you feel like God wasn't hearing your prayer because it didn't look or sound the same as somebody else's. I made this video for you because I have once felt the same exact way. Let me tell you, I grew up in a family, both sides of my family are very passionate and expressive people, and I love that about them. But growing up, that made me feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm praying the way I should because it doesn't sound like this, or it doesn't look like this, or it's not as loud as this, you know, and it kind of made me feel insecure growing up. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today, because there's nothing wrong with your prayer life being expressive and passionate. In fact, I think that it should be. But if you think about it, we're all different people, we all have different personalities, and what may be considered passionate and expressive to somebody else may be different than how you feel about it, may be different than how you express passion and express yourself. And that's okay, because the Most High made us unique individuals. So we're not going to all look or sound or pray the same. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think it's important, and I don't want you to feel like your prayer is insignificant because you're comparing yourself to somebody else's. What really matters is your heart and your intentions. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. If any of this interests you, then just keep on watching. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 or 4 things that have enhanced my prayer life and things that I try to be mindful of when I am praying. And the first thing is remembering to have a humble spirit, because the fact that we can even communicate with the Most High and have a one-on-one relationship with Him is a privilege, you know, and I don't want to take that lightly. So I always try to remember to have a humble spirit and remember that, of course, the Most High is my Father, He's my friend, He's someone that I could depend on, someone I could talk to literally about anything, but He is still King of Kings. Like, He is still the Most High, and I need to have a fear of, a reverence, a respect for that. And the Bible says that the fear of Him is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. So, and not fear in a way of like you should be afraid of communicating to Him, because the Bible says that we should come boldly before the throne of grace. Like, we don't have to be afraid, but we have to be mindful that we are human beings, that we are flawed human beings, and we literally don't deserve to be in His presence. So when I am entering His presence, I try to make sure that my heart is right, that my mind is right, that I am acknowledging the vastness of Him as much as I can, you know what I mean? And worshiping and praising Him for who He is and what He's done. Always having a spirit of gratitude and thanks. In the Old Testament, they were not playing. Like, anytime they would enter into God's presence, they made sure that they had a sacrifice, no matter what. And if you didn't, we're not going to get into that. But thankfully, because the Most High paid the ultimate price, we don't have to bring sheep and calves and rams and all these things, because His blood was already shed. So that's already taken care of. What we need to do now is bring our sacrifice of praise and worship. And worship is a sacrifice, because it's literally putting ourselves in submission and focusing our attention on him and him alone. Because innately, we're like very selfish people, you know. We always want the attention to be on us. We want to come to talk to God like about us. We want to pour our heart out, and that's great. But first, let's put some respect on his name and respect him for who he is. Honestly, not all the time do we feel like doing this because we're human. But at the end of the day, he is still deserving of it regardless, you know what I mean? The fact that we can even communicate and be in his presence is something to be grateful for. So I always try to make sure that my heart is in the right place, that I am expressing gratitude and thanks and reverence for who he is and what he's done. Regardless of how I might feel, regardless of any situation around me, he is still the Most High. So that's just the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing I wanted to talk about is saying what you mean and meaning what you're saying. So, listen, the Most High knows when you're just saying words to say words because they may sound good, or you think that's what you're supposed to say because, you know, this is what you're taught to say and you're just repeating it because it may sound good. But the thing about him is that he knows our heart, he knows our intentions, he knows when we're just saying things because, you know, that's what we think we should say, and we're just trying to put on this facade. Like, he knows what, my point is that he knows when you're being real and he knows when you're not. I'm just gonna, let me read this couple verses in the Bible so that you can understand what I'm saying. I might have to put my hair up because it's hot and my hair about to, anyway. I'm reading from Matthew 6:5-7, and I'm reading the NLT version. That's just one of my favorite versions. Anyway, this is Yeshua talking. So he's saying, when you pray, don't be like the hypocrites who love to pray publicly on street corners and in the synagogues where everyone can see them. I tell you the truth, this is all the reward they will ever get. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Verse 7. When you pray, don't babble on and on as Gentiles do. They think their prayers are answered merely by repeating their words again and again. Don't be like them, for your Father knows exactly what you need before you even ask him. And then he goes on to give an example of how we should exemplify our prayer life. So that's what I want to talk about, just the babbling and the vain repetitions, because God knows your intention. He knows when you're being sincere. He knows when you're just talking just to talk. And it's not about the duration of how long you're praying. It's not about it's literally all about your sincerity and your heart and your intentions, you know? So like I said, say what you mean what you say. Because when we keep on saying things, it can lose its effect. Just be intentional. Just be intentional about every single thing that you're saying. And that's all I wanted to say about that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is having intentional time with the Most High. You know how life is. Life literally gets in the way of everything. Like, we can have plans to do all the things that we want to do, but then at the end of the day, if you don't literally carve out time to dedicate literally just to be in prayer and meditation, you won't do it. Honestly, what I was doing wasn't enough. I would pray in the morning, just expressing gratitude for being alive, for keeping us safe, all these things. And then, of course, when I'm saying thanks for my food, and that's great. Of course, we should be thankful throughout the day. But I'm talking about that dedicated time by yourself in your prayer closet, whatever, to spend time with the Most High, you know? And he honors that. He realizes that a lot of things in our life, there's so many distractions, but we have to put the important things first. And I'm still working at this. Like, there are days that I miss and life gets in the way, but I really am trying lately to make sure that I am spending time with him and that it's not rushed. I had to realize that I am spending a lot of time, you know, dedicating to my schoolwork, dedicating to other people, dedicating time for myself, you know, self-care, all that is good. But I was like, I really need to spend some time doing some soul care. You know, the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is your soul. So is your spirit. So I need to make time for that, obviously. I mean, it makes so much sense, but like, here I am not doing enough of it. So looking back on it, the only time that I would have dedicated just personal alone time with the Most High outside of church would be either when things are going really good or when things are going really bad. And I'm just like, that's so selfish, Irene. It's so selfish. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who only wants to communicate with you when things are bad. That's so whack, and I don't want to have that same mentality with my father. Y'all, do y'all see how much my hair has poofed? It's okay though. It's hot. I'm passionate about these things. The lights, it's a lot. Anyway, the last thing I'm going to talk about today is meditation. A lot of different cultures meditate and everything because there's a lot of benefits to it. But the Bible also speaks a lot about meditation, a lot. When we do meditate, that's when we hear from God because, you know, I have said my praise, I have made my requests known, and I would used to just end my prayer there, but I want to hear from God, and that means being quiet and just resting in his word, just being present with him and just allowing myself to listen and just reflect on what was being said. But it's very important, if not one of the most important things, to make sure that you're hearing from him as well. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and they just talk, but you can't get a word in? Like, this is supposed to be a conversation. Like, this is not a monologue. This is a back and forth conversation. So I try to make sure that I'm making time to meditate and hear from the Most High. That is everything that I wanted to talk about today. I hope by the end of this video that you have gained some confidence to recognize that we are all unique individuals and that we shouldn't be comparing our prayer life to somebody else's. Of course, it's not a problem to look up to people. Just remember that the Most High made you the way that he wanted to make you, and he made you that way for a reason. So be yourself, be humble, have a good heart, make sure your intentions are in the right place, your mind is in the right place, and that's all that matters. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you have made it all the way to the end, let's have a conversation in the comments as well. I love to talk to you guys and hear what you guys have to say. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.